Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Crimbo. Today we're going to be cooking burgers. As always, start by grabbing your trusty cat apron. Struggle to tie the knot a little bit. Oh, not quite. And there we go. Awesome. We're going to start by grabbing out our ingredients. I'm using brioche buns, regular tomatoes, and a white onion. And for the beef, I'm going to be using an 85% lean, 15% fat ground beef. This is really good for burgers just because the fat gives it some flavor, but there's not too much to where it's not super unhealthy. I'm going to begin by cutting up my onion into strips so I can make some jammed onions. Start by cutting your onion across the equator and almost cut the shit out of yourself because your knife is stupid dull. Next, peel the outside layer of the onion to get the skin off. Next, I'm going to cut the onion into quarters by cutting from the top down. If you've started crying by this point, I recommend chewing some chewing gum. For me, it personally doesn't help, but for some people, it does. Make sure to place your finished cuts into a Tupperware dish just to keep your cutting board clear. And this is what you're going for. You want them a little bit thicker just because they're going to shrink a little bit in the cooking process. You also want them relatively the same size, otherwise they won't cook at the same speed and you'll have some crunchy and some pretty soft. Next, in a pot on medium-low, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. And then start adding in our onions. Make sure you break them apart as you go. You don't want them sticking together. You're going to want to stir these pretty frequently just to make sure that none of them stick to the bottom or the sides of the pan and burn. Add some more olive oil to the top just to make sure they're all evenly coated. And continue to stir. Next, we're going to use a pretty similar process for cutting our tomatoes. Flip it upside down using the stem part sort of as a base and cut from top to bottom. Next, we're going to cut into slices by starting at the stem and moving back. Make sure to eat the end bit because it's too thick to waste but too thin to cut. And place the rest into a Tupperware container for later. And there you go. You have perfect tomato slices for your burger. Speaking of which, we're going to start by cutting open a side just so we can drain out any extra blood. And open it the rest of the way. Now here comes the best part. Go ahead and start by grabbing a good handful. I used about a third of the package. And what you're going to want to do is form it into a ball and then slowly but surely expand it outwards. Make sure you add a little bit more if it's not quite as big as you want. Make sure you make them a little bit bigger than what you want your final product, because they're going to end up shrinking. Once you're done forming your patty, go ahead and give it a nice little dimple in the middle. This is just going to help keep it from bulging up in the center. Go ahead and repeat this with the rest of the package, and what you should end up with is 3 relatively same sized patties. And now they're ready for seasoning. For seasonings, I'm keeping it pretty simple, just some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. If you really wanted to, you could use some Worcestershire sauce, or maybe even some paprika for some smokiness. Do whatever you want to do, just make sure you don't over season them. Now we're going to set them off to the side and get our pan hot and ready. Similar to how we did our steaks, we're going to be using a cast iron pan with a little bit of avocado oil. Okay, maybe a little bit more avocado oil. Excellent, rock on. And we're going to let this heat up on medium-high heat. Oh, and make sure to keep stirring your onions. While that's heating up, we're going to be making some mayo mustard. This is just half parts mayonnaise, half parts mustard. I really recommend using something with texture like a Dijon mustard or a stone cut mustard, but if all you have on hand is yellow, that's perfectly fine. Oh, and I forgot to mention this, but make sure you toast your brioche buns. This is just going to help it withstand the juices of your burger. Now that our skillet is ripping hot, we're going to go ahead and place in our burgers seasoned side down so that we can season the backside. Similar to how the steaks are, these are going to stick to the pan, and when they release, you'll know they're ready to flip. Now we're going to continue cooking, flipping occasionally until they're at the right temperature or doneness that you want them at. Once they're ready, remove them from the skillet and place them on a plate. Now that we're at our burger assembly station, we're going to start by placing down 2 slices of our tomatoes. Hit them with a little bit of salt. Next, we're going to place the burger upon the throne of tomato. Top it with some of our jammed onions. Make sure you struggle getting them out of the pot and onto the burger. That's a very important step. Next, we're going to hit the top bun with a good glob of our mayo mustard. Make sure to be generous with it too. This is some gourmet shit. And there we go. Burger is now assembled, and for the first time in cooking in Crimbo history, I'm going to attempt a cross section. And just like that, you made yourself some homemade burgers. If you like what you saw, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you feel so inclined to. And as always, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to tune in next week when I cook something, because I haven't decided what I'm going to cook next.